Have you ever scrolled through LinkedIn and seen someone celebrating a six-figure job offer, thought they finally made it, but 3 years later that same person is still complaining about being broke, or maybe you are that person? You're earning $120,000, $150,000, even $200,000 a year, and somehow you're still living paycheck to paycheck, wondering every single month where all that money goes. Let me tell you something that might shock you a little. There is a growing class of Americans who are technically high earners yet experience just as much financial stress as people making half their income. I call them the quietly broke. If you're pulling in a solid six-figure salary but can't seem to get ahead, there's a good chance you're one of them. I'm Viet, and I spend more time than I probably should analyzing why people who ought to be wealthy are somehow still struggling financially. If you feel like you're running on a financial treadmill despite your impressive salary, follow the channel and don't forget to hit the like button. Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to talk about: earning six figures doesn't mean what it used to. The lifestyle a $50,000 salary could support in 1990 now costs $140,000 in most major cities. And yet we're all still operating under this outdated assumption that anyone earning over $100,000 is rich and should have their financial life completely figured out. This assumption is financially destroying people. It's creating a class of high earners who are too embarrassed to admit they're struggling, too proud to ask for help, and too busy keeping up appearances to actually fix their situation. They drive nice cars, live in expensive apartments, and post vacation photos on Instagram, all while secretly terrified about what would happen if they lost their job for even a single month. The average person assumes someone earning $150,000 a year must have tons of savings, a robust investment portfolio, and zero financial stress. The reality is that most of these high earners have less than $10,000 saved, carry credit card debt they're quietly managing, and maintain a lifestyle that would collapse instantly if that paycheck stopped coming. Let's start breaking down what a $140,000 salary actually looks like once reality hits it with a baseball bat. Most people think $140,000 means taking home around $140,000, maybe minus a little for taxes. Wrong. Completely wrong. After federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and whatever other deductions your employer creatively extracts from your paycheck, that $140,000 becomes somewhere between $95,000 and $100,000 in actual take-home pay. And that's if you live in a state with no income tax. If you're in California or New York, the number hitting your bank account might be closer to $85,000 to $90,000. So right off the bat, you've already lost 30% to 40% of that impressive-sounding salary. But here's where things get really interesting. And by interesting, I mean financially devastating. Let's say you live in a major city, because that's where most of these high-paying jobs actually exist. Rent for a decent one-bedroom apartment in a reasonably safe neighborhood runs $2,500 to $3,500 a month. That's $30,000 to $42,000 a year just to have somewhere to sleep. If you're in San Francisco or Manhattan, you can basically double those numbers. You're already spending 35% to 45% of your take-home pay just to have a place to rest your head. And we haven't even touched on food, transportation, or the fact that your friends who also make six figures expect you to split $200 dinner bills like it's nothing. Let me paint you a picture with real numbers. You're making $140,000. After taxes, you're taking home about $8,000 a month. Rent is $3,000. The car payment on that BMW you felt you deserved after getting promoted is $700. Insurance is another $200. Student loans from the prestigious university that helped you land this job are $800 a month. We're already at $4,700. And you haven't eaten, put gas in your car, or done literally anything else yet. Add another $800 for food because you're too exhausted from your demanding job to cook most nights. Utilities are $150. Phone bill is $100. Gym membership because you need to stay healthy is $150. Streaming services because everyone at work talks about shows are $80. And you need clothes that look appropriate for your professional position, another $300 a month averaged out. Your basic monthly expenses have now reached $6,280, leaving you $1,720 for everything else: savings, investments, emergency fund, entertainment, dating, and all those other little expenses that somehow add up to far more than you ever expected. This is exactly where the quietly broke phenomenon really kicks into high gear. When you're earning $140,000, you're surrounded by other people making similar money, and everyone is engaged in this elaborate performance of success that nobody can actually afford. Your coworker just bought a house in a nice suburb, $750,000, with a minimal down payment, because they couldn't wait any longer to build equity. They're hemorrhaging money every month but posting photos of their beautiful kitchen on Instagram. Your college friend is taking their third international trip this year, and you feel pressure to join them for next month's Portugal vacation because you can afford it now. I call this lifestyle creep on steroids. It's not the traditional advice about cutting out lattes. Though honestly, when your latte habit at the artisan coffee shop near the office turns into a $200 monthly expense, maybe we should talk about that too. This is about fundamental lifestyle inflation that happens so gradually you don't even notice it destroying your finances. Think about what happened when you got your first big raise. Maybe you went from $75,000 to $120,000. That's a massive jump, right? You should have been able to save or invest that entire $45,000 difference. But what actually happened? You moved to a nicer apartment because you deserved it after working so hard. You upgraded your car because the old one was embarrassing to pull up to client meetings in. You started buying nicer clothes, eating at better restaurants, and calling cabs instead of taking public transportation because time is money. Before you knew it, your expenses had expanded to perfectly match your new income, leaving you with exactly the same monthly surplus as before, which is to say practically nothing. The fancy term for this is Parkinson's law applied to finances. Expenses expand to meet income. The street term for it is being an idiot with money. This is what makes it particularly insidious for high earners. The pressure comes from every direction. Your family expects you to pick up more of the tab at family dinners because you're doing so well now. Your friends expect you to keep up with their spending because you're all in the same income bracket. Your workplace has unspoken expectations about how you should present yourself. The right watch, the right car, the right neighborhood. And because everyone around you is making similar money and facing similar pressures, you all collectively convince yourselves that this is just what life costs. Nobody wants to be the person who suggests a cheaper restaurant or admits they can't actually afford that weekend ski trip. So everyone just keeps spending, accumulating debt, and pretending everything is fine. Let's talk about something high earners really don't want to discuss. Debt, and not student loan debt. Everyone admits to having that. I'm talking about credit card debt, personal loans, and the elaborate financing schemes that keep the appearance of success afloat while financial reality drowns underneath. The average American household carries about $9,000 in credit card debt. Know what the average household earning over $150,000 carries? Often more, sometimes significantly more. Because here's the thing about having good credit and a high income: banks will throw money at you. They'll approve you for credit cards with $30,000 limits. They'll offer you personal loans at competitive rates. They'll make financing that $5,000 designer couch over 24 interest-free months seem like a smart financial move. I've met people earning $175,000 a year who have $40,000 in credit card debt spread across multiple cards. They're making minimum payments like clockwork. Their credit score is still decent because they never miss a payment. From the outside, their lives look absolutely perfect. Nice apartment, new car, luxury vacations all over social media. But they're one emergency away from financial catastrophe, one unexpected medical bill, one car repair, one job loss, and the entire carefully constructed facade comes crashing down. Because when you're spending every dollar you earn and then some, there is no buffer. There is no safety net. There's just the hope that nothing goes wrong until the next paycheck arrives. What makes this even worse is that high earners often don't even qualify for the same sympathy or assistance that lower income people struggling with debt might receive. You can't exactly complain to people about your financial stress when you're making 3 times the median household income. So you suffer in silence, maintaining the appearance of success while internally panicking about your finances. Here's the crazy part: this debt often doesn't even come from anything tangible. It's not like these people bought a boat or invested in real estate. It's the accumulation of thousands of small decisions that seemed reasonable at the time. Dinners out because you were too tired to cook after a stressful day. Cabs because public transportation was inconvenient. New clothes because you had important meetings. Weekend getaways because you needed to decompress from work stress. Each individual expense seems justified, but collectively they create a financial sinkhole. Now let's talk about something that should terrify every high earner. Retirement savings, or more accurately, the complete absence of retirement savings despite earning well into six figures. According to various surveys, the median retirement savings for households earning between $100,000 and $150,000 is somewhere around $150,000 to $200,000. That might sound reasonable until you realize these are people in their peak earning years who should be absolutely crushing their retirement savings goals. You're 45 years old, earning $140,000, and you've only saved $150,000 for retirement. You're not on track. You're standing at the station watching the train pull away. Let's talk about the math that should wake you up at night. If you want to maintain anything close to your current lifestyle in retirement, you need roughly 25 times your annual expenses saved up. If you're spending $100,000 a year right now, you need $2.5 million in retirement savings. Got that much? Didn't think so. The problem is that high earners often make just enough to disqualify themselves from various tax benefits and assistance programs, but not enough to actually build serious wealth quickly. You're stuck in this awkward middle zone where you earn too much to get help but not enough to easily overcome the financial challenges of modern life in expensive cities. Most people earning $140,000 are contributing maybe 5% to 8% of their salary to their 401k, especially if that's what gets them the full employer match. That's roughly $7,000 to $11,000 a year going into retirement accounts. Better than nothing, but nowhere near enough to actually retire comfortably if you plan to maintain anything resembling your current lifestyle. And here's the really fun part: a lot of high earners don't even contribute enough to get the full employer match. They look at their paycheck, see that contributing 6% means taking home hundreds of dollars less each pay period, and they simply can't afford it because they've structured their entire life around spending every dollar they earn. They're literally turning down free money because they're too financially squeezed to accept it. Let's address the elephant in the room: social media and professional comparison are financially destroying high earners in ways that didn't exist 20 years ago. When you're earning $140,000, you're no longer comparing yourself to the median household. You're comparing yourself to other high earners, and that comparison is utterly toxic for your finances. Your LinkedIn feed is full of people announcing promotions, celebrating funding rounds for their startups, and posting about their latest exciting career moves. Your Instagram is full of friends and acquaintances who seem to be living impossibly glamorous lives: fancy restaurants, exotic travel, perfect homes with designer furniture. Everyone appears to be succeeding wildly while you're struggling to save $500 a month. Here's what you don't see: the debt behind those vacations, the financial stress behind those perfect photos, the fact that most of these people are just as broke as you are but better at hiding it. Social media is a curated highlight reel of financial success stories, and you're comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's carefully staged performance. This comparison trap is particularly vicious for high earners because you have just enough money to fake it. Someone making $45,000 can't pretend to keep up with a $140,000 lifestyle, so they don't even try. But when you're earning $140,000, you can technically afford to go on that expensive vacation or buy that luxury item. You just can't do it while also saving for retirement, building an emergency fund, and maintaining any kind of financial security. So if you're sitting here realizing you're one of these quietly broke high earners, what do you actually do about it? Because being aware of the problem doesn't fix the problem. It just makes you aware that you're drowning. First, you need to get brutally honest about your actual financial situation. Not the one you present to the world, your real numbers. How much debt do you have? What's your actual net worth? If you lost your job tomorrow, how long could you survive? These questions are uncomfortable, but you can't fix problems you refuse to acknowledge exist. Second, you need to break the lifestyle lock gradually but deliberately. This doesn't mean moving into a studio apartment and eating instant noodles. It means questioning every recurring expense and asking whether it's genuinely adding value to your life or just maintaining an appearance. Maybe you don't need the luxury car. A reliable used vehicle could free up $500 a month for actual wealth building. Maybe you don't need that expensive apartment. A slightly less trendy neighborhood could save you $800 a month. Third, you need to start building wealth automatically, before you have a chance to spend the money. The moment your paycheck hits, money should automatically flow to your 401k, your emergency fund, and your investment accounts. You can't trust your future self to make good decisions when faced with the temptation to spend. You need systems that protect you from yourself. Here's the uncomfortable reality: the vast majority of high earners will read this, not alone, recognize themselves in these patterns, and then change absolutely nothing. They'll go right back to living paycheck to paycheck, stressing about money despite their impressive salaries, and wondering why they can't seem to get ahead. But for those of you who actually take action, who recognize that being quietly broke despite a six-figure income is a choice and not an inevitability, your financial future just changed. You have an enormous advantage that most people don't have: actual income. The difference between being quietly broke and building real wealth isn't earning more money, it's keeping more of what you earn. The $140,000 poverty line is real, but it is not inevitable. It's a trap created by lifestyle expectations, social pressure, and financial illiteracy. And once you understand the trap, you can choose to step out of it. Most people won't. But you're not most people. At least I hope you're not. The choice is yours. You can keep playing the game where you earn a lot and have nothing to show for it.